What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Love and Golf, a podcast about our romantic, passionate, and sometimes twisted love affair with the game and the valuable lessons it's given us and what we give back to it. Oh boy, this episode is probably going to be one of my favorites. We've recorded a handful of these now, and typically I like to do these long-winded introductions, hyping this person up, hyping my guests up. This individual I actually met, and some of the people I've met, I've introduced or interviewed, they've been part of my life for years and in the golf space for years. This next gentleman is a friend of mine, and we became fast friends. We worked together in a past life, and I've never seen so much talent in a young professional in my life. Now, keep in mind, I've worked in countless jobs in different industries, but always kind of centered around digital media, digital marketing, digital strategy. And it's funny when you think you're an expert in something, you think you know everything, you think you have it figured out. And in my road of social media and building accounts, lately I've gotten stuck. Lately it's been challenging because the game is changing. And I met this individual, Stamey, who was quickly poached and brought into Wilson Golf to not only resurrect their presence, their brand image online, but also create a sense of community for what was the legacy brand. It was no small task, and in meeting Sam, he has done a phenomenal job at Wilson. And I wanted to bring him on because he has an interesting story about how he found golf, his relationship to it. And then also, I kind of want to treat this episode almost like a learning lesson. Because I know there are so many listeners out there that have their own brands, whether in golf or not. And I want Sam to help teach us all about how the content game is changing and maybe some key takeaways that we can apply to our brands. So without further ado, Samuel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, man. I don't hear Samuel a lot, but
right.
you're one of the few people that can call me that.
It's better than Sammy though. We're not calling you Sammy.
Yeah, no, that's a no go. That's if you know me, that's a no go. But thank you for having me. I am super excited. Very very excited to be able to talk about my experiences, and it's been a crazy couple years, but excited.
So I want to give people some backstory into this one. So I'm going to set the table a little bit. I started Mully about 3 years ago. And for all y'all in the startup space, Mully didn't launch until November 21. So there's so much prep work. And by the way, you can't live off dreams, and you can't live off it's a profit company, but we were making money. You can't make money that way. So I leaned. I don't know. I was leaning on my past experience of being an expert in social media and digital marketing. I crossed paths with Wilson Golf. I've worked with them and a few other golf companies. And Wilson, I grew up playing golf since I was 12. So I don't even want to put a date on that, but before Sam was born, put it that way. And I knew Wilson. I had Dynapower irons when I was a kid, like the blades that Arnold Palmer used to play. And then it's kind of weird to see Wilson and I know you're on here and you're a Wilson guy, excuse me, but kind of lose some steam. Like I'm saying that appropriately. I remember they went to the Big Five model, and then it went from being this powerhouse brand that everybody played. Gene Saracen, Arnold Palmer, Hogan, right? And so like the greats of the great played Wilson, and then there was a break, and then the resurrection of it. And I didn't really know it was the original golf brand, like the first ever golf brand. So long story short, I met a few Wilson Golf people, professionals in the marketing department, and they kind of asked me to chime in, ask some strategy. And I was trying to help with them a little bit. And I was like, guys, you honestly need like a real social media marketer and professional and a manager to spearhead this. And then next thing I know, Sam comes in, guns a-blazing, just, his background's in social media and has built this following up by over 10% in a year, revamped the image, cleaned house, kind of has given Wilson Golf its own identity now and voice and tone. And brother, I know that I've been watching you do this, and I'm just extremely impressed by you. And I'm sure there's so much you can teach us, the listeners, in what to do for our own brands. But before we get there, man, you're what, 24, 23, 24?
23, turned 24 in July.
You're a neophyte in the world, super talented in content. Let's rewind the clock a little bit, right? Just a little bit. And tell everybody, like, because I think to work in this space and to have the know-how, to have that like brain to speak the language, you can't fake it. You got to be a golfer.
Right.
So, which means you got bit by the bug, you have a history with golf. let's talk about that story first before we dive into the professional side.
Yeah.
So
No,
how did you first meet golf?
for sure. I don't think I really had a choice. No, I'm just kidding. My growing up, my dad, I can remember as he used to. I'll give you a background story. My dad, he used to tell me a story when he was growing up. He'd wake up around 6 a.m. with 3 of his buddies, go play 18, come back, sleep, eat lunch, and go play another 18. That was the life back then.
Man, that's
Yeah.
that's a life. Man, that sounds too familiar.
That was definitely before he had kids. So he had me, and he got a little bit more responsible, and he would take me with me with him, and we would just kind of go on the course. And I fell in love with it. But as the years went on, golf is not the most affordable sport. Definitely. So we grew up in about 60 acres, and my dad would give me a bucket of balls and a couple wedges, and he'd say, "Go make your own course." Yeah. So
Wow.
we grew up I grew up in Hickory, North Carolina, so it's called the foothills of the Carolinas, and you got these like really clay grass, so like when you pure, you can just hear it too. It was just overall like that was my upbringing. That's how I kind of like
Hmm.
fell in love with the game, because if you can fall in love with it on a farm, then you can really love it on a really pristine, golf course. So I did that up until I was like 10 or 11, before I really.
So you had a golf club in your hand that early on, like that early.
Oh yeah, I probably. I mean, there are pictures of me rolling around like a little playset toy when I was like 1 or 2. So and you should probably also mention before everybody's aware that I am left-handed. So I know it's a little skewed view, but yeah,
100%.
yeah, that's how I got started at a really early age.
So a lot of, I mean, again, trying to make this as relatable as possible. I don't know. You can share whatever you want to share. I know that I took up golf because of my parents' divorce. It was a space for me to like escape, like to just spend time with me outside of it all, right? Because life's hard, guys. Life's a full contact sport, and there's no gloves and no one's pulling punches. It's going. So was golf a release for you in any way? Like, what was it like on the farm golfing? I mean, because you now see a lot of people, a lot of golf courses, right, have their own like make your own, course, right? I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
there's yeah.
Yeah, no, I would say for me, it was almost like a great time to spend with my dad.
Hmm.
He's a big part in this story, just because he showed me the ins and outs of the game, and he really like kind of like devoted a lot of his time just like helping me improve, because he was a scratch golfer at one point, and so he was decent. So I think it was an escape to go do something with him, and just like spend like quality time with each other. So I would say that's for me, that was definitely kind of our deal.
Yeah. And then does anyone else in your family play, or just you and your dad?
Just my dad. Well, actually, my sister, she picked it up a little after I did. I think she wanted to kind of beat me at something, and she got really good. She was getting pretty good, but after high school, it kind of faded into a phase.
So take me through your journey of that. So did you play high school golf, college golf? Like how did the sport, once we all get bit by it, we get bit
Yeah,
by it.
yeah.
How did it manifest into more inside of you?
Yeah, no. Once I could handle myself on a golf course, I was playing junior events. So I was playing like U.S. Kids events. I was playing
Hmm.
USGA events, starting at 12 and 13. And once I got to high school, I really wanted to play competitive golf. Fortunately, I got paired up with the probably most competitive high school you will ever be at. I mean, our guys, I could go out and probably shoot 39. I'd be like, that was a good 9 for me. In high school golf, you play 9 holes. These guys are
Yeah.
shooting 33, 34, qualified. I mean, just so there's 6 that go out to play tournaments, and out of those 6, 5 of them went to play college golf.
That's
And you can
insane.
guess which one didn't go play college golf. But they were really good. But I think that's when I even fell in love more with the game, just watching these guys who are like stellar, really good. They kind of showed me, ins and
Yeah.
outs of the game. So yeah, that's from there. That's kind of where my competitiveness kind of stopped after high school.
Well, you mentioned falling in love with it, watching them. So let's ask this question. Like, what is the relationship? Because I always, and I didn't open the show with this, but I always kind of make a reference, because this is your first time listening. Golf in my life, in my heart, golf is this goddess. It's a muse, and I refer to her as this goddess that we all have a relationship with. And it's funny, what the goddess of the muse of golf gives me is different than it gives you, but yet it's a very common thread between all of us. And I know that it's given me values and morals and the friends and community, and it's really helped me give my identity. I don't know if you have anything like that. Like what does the relationship to golf mean to you?
Yeah, no, it's definitely I mean, it's definitely a love for the game. I mentioned that, like, a lot of people have a hard time figuring out why they love golf. Like for you and I, we can probably sit on a late Sunday afternoon and just like thoroughly enjoy a round, finishing
Yeah.
round. And for some
Yeah.
people, it's like, are you insane? Like, I'd rather watch paint dry. And so, it's hard to explain that love unless you've grown up with it, like now married recently in the past year, like I've loved my wife since I've met her, but the love has like grown more and more. You find things that you love more about her. Same with golf. Like you just continue to find things that you love a lot more than you did when you first started. So.
Damn, dude, I like that, because it's almost like the gas in the fire. Like that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. That love, like golf, and the love you have for it, almost teaches you how to love other things, people, places, events. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's. And what's funny is like you and I have been golfing since we were kids, right? But have you seen like in your friend group like all the new golfers that kind of took up the game because like the pandemic, it was like one thing to do, and like golf's popularity has risen, and it's interesting seeing them get bit by the golf bug, and then because I mean, we were bit when we were kids, right? I
Yeah,
was bit when I was a
yeah,
teenager. I was a teenager, right? Going out to the golf course. Mom's dropping me off. Dad's picking me up. I'm there from 12-hour
yeah,
days, and it's like it's fun watching my friends who are now like in their 20s and 30s and 40s take up golf, and they're just like on all the golf blogs, and they can't get enough of it. So it's interesting watching people get bit by it. Because when you're bit by it, at a young age, you don't notice it.
yeah. No, I think 100%. Like, I feel like in high school, I was probably like not an outcaster, but playing golf like isn't the most popular sport to play in high school unless like you're part of
Mm-hmm.
some pristine school. Um, and I feel like now I'm seeing those friends who are picking up golf and like asking me like, hey, like what should I be looking for clubs? Like asking me all these
Yeah.
questions, and I think it all comes back to the fact that like everyone can play golf, and it's just finding that love for it.
So let quick bridge, because you mentioned something interesting, and I had a little rant on my personal social media page the other day, just because right now, guys, I'm sure everyone's heard. A couple of the good guys left. Good signed with Callaway. Micah and Grant, right, went to
TaylorMade.
TaylorMade,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I know you're of the same fabric. You're a content creator. You know of them. I think maybe you've spoken to them through Wilson a couple times, bro. These like, no offense to you guys, you're kids. Like you're 23. I still think I'm somewhat of a kid, but I'm not. But like they're 23 years old, and you said, when I was 23, when I was high school playing golf, I got made fun of. I was like, oh, there's that kid playing golf. But I did get to the high school at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, which was
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah.
But dude, the business of golf now, and how much brands are, and maybe you can speak to this, are investing in the creators, in these athletes that aren't professional. They're not going to, for as far as we know, they're not going to go to the PGA Tour and win the Masters, right? But their content channels are generating millions of impressions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a different age now.
Yeah, no, it 100% is. I mean, from a Wilson's side perspective, I know we haven't talked much about that, but from like brands changing, I mean, a lot of these content creations or content creators are being associated with brands. Like they want to know, like these guys who are in the ins and outs of the game, they want to know what's in their bag. Like, and it is a huge generational kind of talking about TikTok and Reels and all of this. It does matter. But I think we're going to come to an age where a lot of that's going to be kind of pushed back as a background, and it's going to be seen more as like, okay, we know you are like up here and you're in the brand now, but like, what do you really like appreciate about the game? Like, what are you using to like change that? So that it's going to be a time where this is kind of going to get pushed out a little bit more than what we're seeing.
Yeah, it's interesting. because I've obviously been a part of the golf space, and shout out to a good friend of mine, Sean Golfbald, right, who was one of the first ever meme accounts, right, and then he's a good friend of mine, and then another friend, Travis, PJ Memes, the meme era. Let's call it the meme era. That meme era was the first, like, those guys were like stars, celebrities, those brands behind it. PJ Memes, Golf Ball, right? Then tons of others came on, group chat golf, and Mully is kind of in that a little bit. We dabbled in that, but there's like that meme culture was the first, right? And then came like the evolution of the Eric Anders Lang and I don't know who else we'll put in that category of like the hosts of golf, right? Roger Steele, obviously, Matt Cardis, like Golf in My State, Golf in Your State. All these guys came on like kind of being like these characters of golf who can still play, mind you. Then you fast forward some more years, and then you got the rise of these younger athletes who are amazing at golf, like studs, that are also doing the recordings, and like there's like just leveling up, each way. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on that, because I'm stuck in the middle, right? I'm a professional who was a part of the meme culture, who understands the acting, like the I guess the figure, right? And then there's a whole new wave of these younger athletes who are amazing. So I'm kind of caught in this whirlwind of like what's happening and how to market a brand. So I'm curious to know like what your thoughts are on the current state of it.
Yeah. I think it is a very generational side of things where you first saw when golf started booming. It was really big to have these meme, cultures to be going out and, guys were digesting it and relating to it. And now you're seeing that these 2-3 years ago, these players who are now, when first back then started, are now becoming really good players. So they're not really wanting to look for a laugh. They're wanting to look for a competitive like side to content. So that's like why good, I probably wasn't, they were in the know probably 3 to 4 years ago, but now they're really getting in the know because they're so competitive, and guys are able to digest that and be like, man, like I want to go out and beat my guys like they are. Or, trick shots I think are coming out toward the end of things because it's really cool, but it's kind of like I've already seen it. Like you've seen it once, and that's impressive. Like not to fact on or like brag or like talk bad about anybody who does like trick shots, but like you are coming to an age where you can only do the same thing so many times. But playing golf is like way different than that because different course, every hole's different. You're competing, you're trying to fight for something like that's digestible. That's content that's going to be more viewed for like, I don't know, guys my age or even guys like closer to your age too, because that meme culture is starting to get pushed out, or the trick shot, and more into content that's like, digestible. I call it digestible.
I think you're right, because it's all about relatability, right? That's the name of the game. I think that you ask any marketer, social media or otherwise, you always want to create content or a message that can be related to the target audience. And if you look at the trajectory of golf, right, before the pandemic, before its boom, right, post Tiger era, you got an influx of golfers, and everyone's good to not that great. And a lot of the memes were probably targeted at the weekend golfer who just wants to go, throw some beers back, hang out with their buds, and not really care about score. Right. And then you see the evolution. You're right. Like now that golf has become so mainstream and so popular amongst pop culture that you're getting an influx of younger golfers who are maybe more competitive. So they want to see, they really probably can't relate to the memes anymore as much as they can the younger golfers trying to go out there and do buddies golf trips and beat each other. So I think you're entirely
right. I think it's like I kind of illustrate it as like, let's say you're at a birthday party, and when COVID happened, that's when golf blew up. Everything happened. It was kind of like you're at a party and there's like, let's say piñata, because I grew up in a Mexican culture, so that was usually at a party for us. And like when that piñata breaks open, the candy goes everywhere, and you don't care what you grab. Well, as you get older, you probably get more of a preference, of what candy you want. And that's how we're kind of seeing this. That piñata was broken open during COVID. Everybody was wanting just anything golf. Now you're seeing like a more specific picking and choosing what they really want to see. And now it's leaning into more of the influencer playing and being competitive.
Yeah. Well, I do want to talk about your professional life a bit and touch on that, because you're a freaking genius. So I'll use myself as the guinea pig. Um, Mully is a smaller company. Shout out to our main sponsor and my business. So Mully, thank you for sponsoring our podcast. But in running the social media channels and working with our marketing team, um, it's challenging to grow past a certain point, especially as the algorithm has changed on Instagram, and then you get the rise of TikTok, and older dogs like myself who are getting new to this world. I'll admit, man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle to understand why. Like, why does a brand need to be on TikTok when it's just this, like, what seems to be this just locker rooms? What is it? This just crass content, or just these like memes brought to life
Yeah.
almost. And I didn't get it, man. And then like I took a break. I took it honestly. And if you're out there listening, and if you have a brand, I think one of the strongest things you can do is just let it breathe. Because posting to post, and this is something that I live by, posting to post is not at all, in my humble opinion, something that anyone should do, because it's like worse than treading water. It's expending energy and creating a message that's not aligned with your ethos and your message. So I took a break and had to just study the landscape. And Sam, you brother have taught me so much about TikTok, so much about the future of content. That would be a 2-hour episode to teach everything you've taught me. But I don't know, in bite-sized segments, like in a bite-sized, or digestible pieces, what kind of advice would you give someone? Because obviously not everyone's managing a 100,000 plus Instagram account like Wilson. What advice would you give someone that's starting out, maybe, that's trying to create, reels or TikTok videos? And there's a difference in the two. And like, how do they get trending and how do they get discovered? Because that's the real part of it, right? That's why TikTok is what TikTok is. So I'm going to shut up and let you talk, because I know I should be the one educating.
I guess it would help if I just give a little bit of background on myself, to know where I got started and just kind of how this kind of evolved to where I am now. So my background is actually teaching. So I got an education degree out of college. But I decided that's not exactly what I want to do. So I shifted, and at the time during college, I had a photography business. So I was playing golf and I had a photography business, but I never combined the two until I graduated and I got a job at a local business, and they hired me on to take care of their social media. And so kind of ventured in, trying different things. And this is when TikTok was definitely becoming in the know. And I was like, man, I need to give this thing a chance. So
What were your first impressions?
first
Like,
impressions
honestly.
was like, man, I'm too old for this. And I was like 20 at the time. So like, it wasn't that long ago. But then I started seeing like, these are like how people are getting their information out. Like I would beg to differ that most people, including myself, my wife always quotes me on this. Like, did you get that off Google or TikTok? Because most people are going to TikTok and looking up how to do or where to get, or anything that comes to the mind, they might look it up. And so that's where I kind of saw it, like, everybody is on this app. Like, everybody is literally on this app. So I need to see how we can best work on this. So I started doing multiple things. First thing,
Is this when? Sorry to interrupt you. Is this when, like, because I'm not a TikTok expert, guys. I'll admit this, but I am familiar with the launch of it. And there was a phase when it was just like, I would see friends dancing, girls dancing, right? Was that just a phase of its growth, or was that, like, I don't know?
I think there are definitely some names associated with like how it started and what was going on during it. Like, dancing was one big thing, everybody doing like the trendy dances and whatever. And there was like a group of people that would do that. There are also like the unboxers, so like getting stuff and like watching people unbox. You had like your comedy side to it. So there are definitely a lot of different buckets. Probably the one that TikTok's most known is because you can do voiceovers, so you can do dances or voices or music, things like that. So that's probably why like most people think of TikTok as like, oh, just get on there and dance. And it's absolutely not. It's like just a easier way to watch content. I think how TikTok did it. So yeah. When I started trying out TikTok, I did a few things. One was posting 3 times a day when I first started. And I know for people who are in content creation, they're like, you're insane for doing that because that's way too much. But it worked. Over the course of like a week and a half of doing that, I would say probably my 15th or 18th post, it got over 300K views. It grew the brand like immediately, and I started seeing success immediately after. That's one thing I think people almost give up after trying and trying and trying and trying, and it never works.
But how? That's my question. How is it? Hashtags there? Is it? How do you
I
get
think
discovered?
it's one, like I said, I think the app definitely rewards you for posting as much as possible because your goal is to do something that the app has never seen before. And when the app sees that, they pick it up and they throw it in the feed. It is by using hashtags, so using the For You page and anything that's relevant with that piece of content. But when you throw that in there, the feed picks it up and saying like, I haven't seen this, puts it in the viewer's like eyes to be able to for them to see it, and then that's where that sharing comes into play. So getting a lot of shares was huge. That first video I think got like, I don't know, like 4,000 shares, and that like it's like a snowball, it picks up. So after doing that, I grew that brand up to several thousand followers within a 2-day period. So it was definitely just like, wow, I could do this. Like I could so do this. But it was being.
And then talk about the quality of content too, because speaking for myself, I get a little what's the word? I get a little shy with the commitment of it. Not showing my face shy, but I mean like shy, like man, I'm not good enough to do this type of editing, and I don't know how to use this kind of music, and I don't. It's just I mean, I made one, dude. It took me like an hour to make a 30-second little thing. I don't know if that's I'm overthinking it, or I don't know if like are there tools that help people like. What advice do you have just to start?
Yeah. I think there are definitely a lot of ways to. I would say I was lucky because I knew how to work a camera, and I also like have just always been able to pick up something like a digitally and just be able to work it. For someone who's just like needing to just pick up a phone, that's all. If you can handle an iPhone, preferably if like it's a newer iPhone because it has a higher quality camera. If you can do that, then take the idea that you have, whatever, it doesn't have to be golf, it could be anything, and make it and see how you can edit it, because it's a lot easier to edit something once you see it rather than trying just to do it as you go. So it's.
Where do you draw inspiration from?
I definitely I pick and choose. So, I'll scroll. I'll take time and just scroll through the feed and find something that I think was relevant and trendy and has a good voice, and I'll follow their action, kind of their lead, because I would say I'm not good enough to make my own trends yet. That I'm still very much trying to follow people as they go. So I would say look at what other people who are successful doing and don't mirror it, but follow the steps that they've taken. How's the quality of the camera? What are they showing in the video? How's the lighting? How's the sound? Things like that you can work on, but you don't have to mimic the actual video.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember you taught me a little trick of the trade too, is using trending audio.
Yeah. That's
talk about
that one's really hard. I mean, it's hard for some people to pick it up, but you'll see it. High schoolers are the biggest ones to use this right now because there are a lot of, you have to kind of be in the know. You have to be able to, some of it doesn't even make sense. Like you're like, I don't even get this, but the sounds, it's like, sounds good for them. So you can click on the sound and see how many times it's been shared. If it's anywhere above, I'd say like 50 to 100,000 shares, then it's definitely gaining traction. And if you're not sure to use it, then look the following day and see how many it's like increased. And that's how you can tell that it's definitely picking up in the feed. And you're not always going to get them right. It might not pick it up, but you have a better chance using that sound because people are looking at that as it's continuing. So.
And I've noticed, man, I've kept an eye on you and Wilson and what you're doing. The Instagram is blowing up. That's its own like beast, right? So, and then I saw you guys launched a TikTok account that's already climbing. So, I mean, take us through like was it hard to convince a legacy brand that's been around since what, 1900, early
Yeah.
1900s, 1913, 14,
Yeah,
12?
1914. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you convince them that, hey, we're going to get on this platform that's really young and we're going to position a legacy original golf brand for this audience? Like, was that a hard sell? How'd you do
Yeah,
that?
I mean, it's definitely a platform that is hard to swallow when you first say it, because it's like, the TikTok, really? Like, you really think we should be on there? And I mean, TikTok,
Why
yeah.
though? Why do you think that
Well,
is?
one, because it's just such a younger generation TikTok. Like, I mean, really young. And Instagram has been around for a while, right? Facebook's been around for a while. So all these platforms that these marketers have already been used to, when a new platform is introduced, it's like, one, it's like unpredictable, so they don't know much about it, and there's a lot of fast moving content that for them just seems like there's no point in wasting time on it. You're already behind on the game. So when I first brought up the idea, they're more so like throw their hands up and said, "Go for it." They didn't see any purpose in it. But you look at other golf brands right now that are really pushing the mark on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, and they're reaching that 12 to 25-year old. Unlike Instagram or Facebook, they're reaching a younger generation when these kids are going up to their parents and saying, "Hey, mom or dad, I want the new Paradigm driver, or I want the new Stealth, or whatever." So I think that's where I kind of beg to differ, that there is a lot of value there.
Yeah. Plus, you're seeing all those content creators. I know there's a guy I'm close with, Ube, and then you got Good. You got a lot of these creators, just
Right.
creators, making these short form, beautifully aesthetic pieces for
Yep.
TikTok. So and Instagram Reels, all in their defense, because I don't want to discredit Reels and how important those are, and even just Instagram as a platform, it's still the beast of all
Yep.
beasts, right? But I think some to give some teaching and some help to the audience is the content's changed, guys, girls and guys. Uh, the day and age where you could just post a flyer or a nice picture with text over it, those days are so far gone. And I'm guilty. We still do this, right? But we're starting to lean more into content creation, starting to align with more creators, because what I'm seeing in the world of TikTok, especially social media in general, Instagram, it's all going to this video format. It's almost like it's becoming short form YouTube. YouTube, you can film anything. I don't, is there a time limit? It can be as long as you want, right? But you get this new vertical format, and it's just about like what you're seeing in like in 30 seconds or less, 60 seconds or less, and it's remarkable what some of these creators are doing, and like piecing together beautiful footage, beautiful content, beautiful images in the story form, and they're helping brands tell stories. So I think what you're seeing now is a lot of brands, like a lot of golf brands, a lot of just brands, Nike, Adidas, etc. Now enrolling content creators, hey guys, go make stuff, and we're just going to post it on our channel because we're so big,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, I think you look at any brand, I'd say there's going to be a higher percentage of reels, let's say on Instagram, on their platforms, than there are going to be static images. I mean, it's just one, you can reach so much more outside of your following count through reels, and that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
one
yeah.
thing that a lot of people forget. Like, yeah, when you post a static image, there's a chance that it might be picked up by an outside viewer, but you have like a 100% chance of getting that outside viewer on a reel because it's in everybody's feed, not your just followers feed. And I think that's where the value comes in, and brands are starting to figure that out. It's like, hey, I could reach 115,000 different people compared to the 30,000 that are currently watching what goes on in my feed. So um, there's a lot of value, and a lot of brands starting to figure that out. And yeah, and I would say like people like Ube especially, that is the type and feels that people are going to be watching. These brands are going to be leaning into. It's the aesthetic. I mean, you got the Netflix series coming out, and that's, it's all about the pictures and like, or the filming, the cinematics of things. That's where it's going to be
Mhm.
heading.
Yeah. So how and Sam, I got to give you a bunch of credit, man, because I've seen you work firsthand. Last year, I saw you work, and So I've seen you with the camera. Not everybody can do this, my friend. You're extremely talented, and I'm going to give you this. If you're someone listening that has an iPhone, they're like, all right, I got an iPhone. Don't have a Canon. Don't have a Fuji. I got my iPhone. That's all I got. I don't have Premiere or Final Cut. I barely know how to shoot and point, let alone record. Right. But they're like, knowing they're taking our advice. They know they need to get on TikTok. They need to make some reels. What advice can you give someone? Are there third-party tools that you've ever used? Or are there things, a mindset to go through, like when I'm filming, and then how do I edit?
Yeah.
Can you teach them how to do that? How do I start?
Yeah. I mean, I go back to TikTok again. That is the easiest. I mean this in the nicest way. It's dummy proofed how to edit, because you are able to take a video, different segments of a video. You don't even have to do it on the app. You can take it on your phone and then upload it to the app. And then all you have to do is, it's like a puzzle. Piece it together how you vision the video coming out. You can add text. Mm-hmm. You can add filters on the app. That is the easiest way to just test and trial some things. If your first 15 posts are just you testing and trying out different methods, great. No harm, no foul. You're at least figuring out what works. That would be the easiest way, because I agree, not everybody can go on Premiere and edit a reel, upload, fix the sound, fix the coloring, like that.
You guys, you can't see this if you're listening to it, but he's actually looking at his screen, which I'm pretty sure Premiere or something's on there.
It actually is. That takes, half a day to be able to produce something. And in the end, it really doesn't have to, on a brand level. Yeah. That's the expectation. But for someone who's trying just to get in the know, trying to learn this stuff, that's the easiest way. Reels is very similar too. So, doesn't take no fancy app or camera to be able to get started.
So let's give them some three takeaways before we kind of get back into your personal journey. So takeaway one is just start. If you have an iPhone, just go for it, and don't be afraid to fail. Shoot, record, and then edit in the app. I know I use something called CapCut.
Yeah,
is that what it's called? CapCut, awesome. You can even start there because it almost does a little bit of editing for you. That's like dummy proof. And then just start. Just try using an iPhone. The cameras are great on the iPhone. Takeaway two is definitely. I've always been a fan of hashtags for discovery. Right, use them and shoot with purpose. Like use the hashtags with your purpose. And then the third takeaway is if possible, trending audio.
Yeah.
Right. Study other people, what they've done, some trending formats, some trending things, and then piggyback off that if you're starting, because you don't always have to be the trendsetter. In a lot of ways, sometimes following a trend is just as good.
And I would add one more if I could, and this is like this might add a little extra, but it's like totally worth it in the end. So if you have one of these that I'm wearing right now, where you can hear my voice very clear and crisp.
That's the people that can't see this. Remember the old school, not the AirPods. It's like the Apple headphone with
the OG,
the wires. Yeah, but with the microphone.
Yeah, with the microphone. Or AirPods or whatever, audio device you can use. Sound is 80% of a video. I would argue 20% is visually. Mm-hmm. If you can hear someone, or if you can hear something, if let's say referring to golf, if you can hear that club strike, that in itself is just like a great video. You can just hear that, right? So I would urge go and find yourself a good set of headphones or something that you can catch audio if you're talking. If not, maybe look at some outsourcing of some microphone equipment there's stuff out there for $25. You really don't have to spend that much. If you're trying to, grow your account, I think that's definitely a good spend.
Yeah. I completely agree with everything you just said. And so I thought of one more question, because I want to ask this too, for my own purposes. If I'm making these reels, is it easy enough for me or TikToks? Is it easier to ping pong back and forth? Can I take the same thing from Instagram Reels and put it on TikTok and vice versa? No?
Yes and no. So you can definitely do that. Some of the audio might not get picked up. Trending sounds are going to be completely different on Instagram and Reels. So if you can find a neutral song or something that can go on both multi-platforms, then that's fine. You can definitely do that. Um, there's no hurt in doing it, because you can, one, relate your TikTok account back to your Instagram, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely worth doing. As far as like a brand perspective, Wilson Golf has yet to do that because we want people to have a clear view of what's on TikTok and what's expected on Instagram, because we have two different
Mm-hmm.
expectations. So um,
Got it. Got
a
it.
lot of people expect like humor, fun, like raw video on TikTok, and Instagram is
Yeah.
very highly polished, very clean cut video and images. So those are
Yeah.
the two major differences.
Yeah, and for people listening, a little digital marketing lesson. It's guys, it's already 3 o'clock. It's been a long day. Okay, um, each platform has, like Sam's saying, is intended for a specific purpose. Twitter is the conversation medium, right? Where people are having conversations there. Maybe they're attaching images, but the primary focus, think of it like a massive chat forum that just keeps going. And you can tap into a conversation or leave a comment on a conversation and then keep the conversation going. But it's conversational. And that's where you're really going to be able to express your brand's tone. If you have a tone, that's where you go. The visual medium, I'm still going to say that Instagram is that. Instagram is the place where you can go to still merge and merge the promotional side of your
Right,
company
right.
and brand or organization, but also the personality, right? That it's very visual. And I think, that maybe I'm seeing Reels, using Ube as the example, a friend that we know, he's using Reels is in more of a dramatic, like almost kind of like the trailer to a feature
Right,
film, right? That's what
right.
that's for. And then lastly, you'll say TikTok, because I don't even really want to mention Facebook in this conversation. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, I know but TikTok's like where it's like that. Okay, after hours, let your hair down. Let's really get into the personality. It's like after the happy hour's over, this is really who I am. It's kind of like that
Yeah,
side of you, and it's interesting to see how they all
yeah,
come
yeah.
together.
No, Facebook is definitely it's still relevant.
Do you even know
Um,
what Facebook is? Have you been on? Do
I
you have a Facebook?
I personally have like a very small Facebook, but I don't use it like ever. I think like a couple weeks ago I went back on just like see birthday wishes from like literally like 2018 that I've never seen. Um, so yeah, I don't get on there very much, but
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Not Facebook. I want to kind of I'm going to try and bring it all full circle and connect Wilson again, because again, I've seen what you've done. It's been amazing, Sam. Like I don't know a lot of marketers, because I know there's a lot of people involved on your team. And shout out to a friend, Lindsay Lassiter, who's incredible. Um, but to take on this endeavor and do it and be able to create the visuals and everything as Dynapower is launching a legacy brand, you have to do that. Like, do you find it difficult? This is a question for you. Do you find it difficult still honoring, knowing you're a younger content creator? How do you find the balance of, I have to really still post the cinematic images and the billboard images and the beauty shots, the glam shots, as we call them in the industry, and also the personality video? How do you find that balance?
I think it's definitely important based on the what the ask is. Obviously, with a big launch like Down and Power, it's important to showcase the brand as as the billboard, as the beautiful image first, because you want to lead with that, show people that this is our product, um, and you don't want to just tell them this is what it is, this is why you should have it, take it. You want to tell them a story behind it. So with such a powerful Down and Power story, you first want to show them what it looks like, and then explain like the detail, the experience, the legacy behind it. And that's what we're kind of trying to do right now, is we're trying to show these viewers that back in the 70s, 60s, 50s, this was the club in your bag. Like if you had this club, like
Mm-hmm.
you were a golfer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to relate people to, we're that brand again. So there's a deep story behind what we're trying to do. But then you take that side and then you shift it and you look at Twitter or TikTok, because we haven't talked much about Twitter, but then it's finding our voice, which we've called it Will's voice. And yeah,
Smart.
and we've kind of like add a little twang to it. So he's witty. He's very like funny. You think of like Ryan Reynolds as someone like, that's yeah,
Been there,
exactly.
done that. I
Yeah.
know it.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
where we can use like that stepping stool to say like, here's this brand, here's our identity, and this is what we sound like.
Mm-hmm.
And then TikTok is obviously to have that raw, fun side of Will. So, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. You're absolutely crushing it, and it's fun to see. And I remember when we first met, well, almost this time last year. I think it was like last May or something like that. Um, you had some options. You could have gone a lot of different places, done a lot of different things, and you chose Wilson because you believe. You told me you believed in the brand. You believed in the vision of where the company was going, and it needed that youthful blood to resurrect its image a little bit, right? It needed that injection. Um, I don't know if you want to talk about I know you probably can't say a few things in the pipeline of what's happening, but what still gets you excited now, trying to marriage your love for golf, understanding of this legacy brand. I mean, take us back to that choice to join. Between you and I and everyone listening, is it still something that you're passionate about? What excites you every day as you get up, working with Wilson
Yeah,
and doing what
yeah,
you do?
no, that's a great question because I tell everyone who I meet that I am living or I am working my dream job. Like just
Wow.
I could not ask for better people in my life to one help me grow as a social media marketer or manager. There are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people like Tom Gruger, who's the VP of marketing for Wilson Golf. Uh, he has just done a tremendous job of shaping what he expects and what he wants us to look like. And he has just like this killer vision of like where we're headed. And it's really like kind of like drinking out of the Kool-Aid. Like you like when you're in it, you just
Wow.
like love to hear how he works. And and then Lindsay, as she's the digital manager for Wilson Golf, and she's or senior digital, I'm sorry. And she has been really tremendous in like one organization and getting everything out.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to
Mm-hmm.
remind people to, I'll go back to when I first took the job, but for this most recent launch, there was a total of 4 people that worked on this launch. And I think that's not that, yeah, I don't think that's
Wow.
spoken a lot because, and it's nothing that we're ashamed of. I mean, it's a great call out because
Family
we
dynamic, I'm
all have to
sure.
work
Yeah.
well together. I think of I've been reading this book about Scrum, and uh, a smaller team works better together when they have all the same goal and they're working for the same purpose. And that's how we're very much working. We're trying to showcase Wilson as best as possible. So I have a lot of great people I work with.
I rem- yeah, dude. I remember when I was there a few months ago, and it just seemed like that. It seemed like Wilson has this family dynamic, even from the athletes that you worked with or work with, down all the way through. Wilson, the parent company, into golf. It just seems like a really like a family style. I got your back. There's
Right.
like a history
Yeah.
feeling there. It's not like you're not like a stranger when you walk in the doors, and if you are a stranger, you're quickly assimilated
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
culture.
No, I remember when I took the job back in coming close to a year ago, there was a lot of uncertainty, and I've soon realized how much of a family dynamic it is. They treat everybody like um, what's on your plate you handle, and if you need help you can ask for help. But it's such a unique culture and work environment because I have a
Mm-hmm.
voice as a social media manager. I have a voice to be able to steer direction where we want this to go. And I know for a
Mm-hmm.
fact a lot of social media managers don't have that capability in the social world. They're very much
Mm-hmm.
taking direction from up top and they're just told what to do. Um, I feel like I have a voice with Wilson to be able to like change things, add suggestions, and that's why one of the reasons I love my job because I have a voice, and I feel like a lot of people are cornered
Yeah.
and don't have the opportunity. But that's something I'm really grateful for.
It just goes to show your level of talent, and you've earned that trust. I'm sure it's not easy, and you're just a really skilled individual. So to wrap up some of the show, we'll go back to your love for golf, and I'll ask a couple $1 million questions. Well, first, I don't know if you can say this. I won't even ask it because I know you can't because I've already asked you privately. But I'm just going to say, I saw the Dynapower launch. I liked it. I think the drivers look slick. Like it's about time the drivers caught up. No offense to everybody over there, but like the irons look like as a single digit handicapper, I was kind of excited. Maybe they'd remodel the blade a little bit. So if there's any birdie listening to this out there, I'm hoping the Dynapower line gets infused with some staff model, and there's a revamp of the blade because my God. He's smiling, so there's hope. There's a chance.
No, I really don't know what's in store as far as irons. We do have some killer irons right now. If you haven't tried any Wilson Staff modeled irons or D9 products, D9 forged, and then our new Dynapower irons, they're going to be killers. So definitely, if you haven't tried them, you need to go out. But I don't know what the future looks like iron wise. We just got done with this launch. I think we're all like breathing and like deciding what the next move is. But I can know I will tell you this: whatever Wilson comes out with is going to blow people away just by the fact that what we've been able to do in the last year. I would, it's going to be a cool future for us. I'm really excited.
Brother, I've eaten my words, and I'll say this publicly. I was never a Wilson golf fan. I mean, Wilson tennis is massive. You can't Federer, the Williams sisters. They're all Wilsons. Like the golf kind of faded, and I never thought twice about it until Mully did an event with Wilson at the PGA Championship last year, and was able to hit the blades, the staff model blades, the CBs, and I was actually blown away. The D9 drivers needed some improvement, and from everything I've seen on YouTube reviews wise, like apparently those things are keeping up with the stealths of the world.
You mean the
big OEMs? So
you mean the carbon driver, right? Oh yeah.
Well, I think the new driver,
the new carbon driver. I mean, I even watched today. YouTubers are like posting about they want to compare Wilson to like a modern, $699 driver, where our driver is going to be priced at $550, I think. Don't quote me on that. I need to check on that. But wow. I mean, like $150 savings on the fact that you can literally not change in distance, literally have the same factor in the driver. I think it's we still stand firm with the fact that these are going to push the numbers compared to the big top five. So very, very excited for that.
I'm excited for you, and keep me in if you need a tester.
Hey, just let me know where to send it.
So, all right, you guys got that on tape. So, dude, let's look at this. Right, you're a young professional. You just graduated college. You studied teaching, but you had a love for golf. You're good at golf. There's something in the fabric of golf that's helped you connect to Wilson, and look what it's done for your career. I'm saying all this because like what is now looking back at it, right? Looking back at the trajectory of your early career, how much has golf played a role in that? And I mean, what does it mean?
No, I always just get like, it just makes me laugh to think about growing up and playing golf. I probably like at 14, 15 knew that I wasn't going to go anywhere playing golf. I mean, like I was at my cap, like I'm not good, to the point where I can go play professionally. So it was very interesting now to see that this has all played a part from the beginning of when I picked up that golf club, and then it has now transpired into like literally my dream job. I get to work with not only the best teammates, but also get to work with some of these guys I've seen play on tour for years and years. Literally the second week I was.
Didn't I hear you just spent like a week or something with
I did.
Kevin
well,
Kisner?
We got to go down. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. He lives about 4 hours south of me, and so I was able to go down and kind of meet with him and take content of him. It was a great experience. But it's like stuff like that.
Yeah, wow.
I get to do, and that's like my job. My third week at Wilson, Tom had sent me a message. He was like, "Do you have a valid passport?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "Well, we're sending you to the Open, so just get your bags." And this was the 150th
Wow.
Open at St. Andrews. So like, if there was ever a time to go, like this was it. And I'm telling you, like, I had to keep like slapping myself. I was like, this is unreal, and it's just like crazy opportunities that what.
And I saw you with Tiger Woods at the Notre Dame
Yeah,
event that
he
you guys
just
were at, right? So you're rubbing shoulders with
yeah
Charlie and
yeah.
Tiger, and
Charlie
I mean,
Woods is
wow,
switching
dude.
to the staff model. No, I can't say that, but he did get to try it. He did try it, but I don't think he's gonna switch to it.
And I think that whole family is Team TM. No offense. So parting gifts, man. You're an amazing human, and I'm glad to call you, happy to, and blessed to call you a friend. You've taught me so much, and hopefully there's lessons in this episode for everyone who has a brand or thinking of starting a company or a brand, to just get out there and start using the discoverability of social media to shot put your company. I guess the parting words that I want to ask, man, like, there's always, speaking for myself, there's always so many people I want to thank in my community and my people. Is there anyone that you want to thank publicly in the chance they hear this, that's helped you get to where you are? Family, friends. I know your wife plays a massive part in what you do. So please, man, take the mic
Yeah,
and
no, gosh,
go for it.
I'm gonna need another 30 minutes to thank everybody. Two call outs would definitely be my dad for being able to start me on the game young, and being there on those cold, rainy days, watching me play nine. I mean, just carrying my bag, doing just whatever you could to watch me play another nine. So he's definitely one I would call out. Just
That's
he's
cool.
just always been there for me. And then my wife for being so amazing. Because with this job, it does come with a couple more days of traveling. So just being away, but she's like super supportive of when I'm gone, and I think she loves kind of watching me chase my dreams. So it's those are two big names for me.
Well, brother, I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to all the cool stuff that you and Wilson Golf have in the pipeline. If people listening have a question for you, is there a way, or maybe they can contact
No,
you,
there
or is that all
absolutely.
private?
I'd love to be able to share my experiences and talk more about it. So they're more than welcome to reach me. I don't know how am I supposed to say my contact info, or do you?
Yeah. What's your hand? Do you want to share your handle?
I don't
Are
think
you
I'm
private? I'm not
private.
sure.
I'm Sam Stam 17. So SAM STAM 17. That's my personal. So
Awesome. And then if you're out there listening and you're creating content, I'm sure Sam would love to work with you. So
I
we're and Mully does too, by the way. I'm not just I know the help I can get. If you're creating cool content,
yeah. If
Mully
you're
needs you
creating
guys.
cool
So
content, come to Wilson Golf first, then go to Molly. Then you can do that.
well, brother, I appreciate you. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. Everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you got some help from this episode. And until next time, guys,
Later,
keep it in the
guys.
fairway.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, buddy.